Hey folks, hope you're all doing well. I have another story I wanted to share with you, and this one comes from a day camp I used to work at in Connecticut years back, and probably 30 plus years ago. And our camp director there, Dudley Hamlin, used to do this story during staff training every year for us. And there it made sense because that camp, all the groups were organized by birds. So our youngest were sparrows and wrens, and our oldest were eagles. And he used to recite this at staff training, and I absolutely loved it. And so when I left that camp, I took it with me and told that story at various camps, and I still tell it. The original is by a gentleman named Bob Stromberg, who is a motivational speaker, and he does some amazing work. And he uses this story in a lot of his work, and he wrote a book about it as well. And but I want to share it with you, if you'll indulge me. So hang on one second. So this is my goose. Well, at least I say it's mine, and I suppose it is for a time. It's been injured, you see, so for a little while it's staying with me. It has no eagle's claw or furrowed brow or hooked beak of these. It has no need, for it's quite content to fill itself with little things amongst the weeds, like small fish. It's a dainty dish, if you're a goose or a Swede. And that is not to say, however, and it would be wrong to think, that this bird is not strong like the eagle, although the eagle might be stronger for the fight and more fit for the kill. This goose can fly further and longer than any eagle will. Oh, I've heard much lofty talk about eagles and falcons and hawks, and it's not my desire, nor would I conspire, to put those great birds down. Who would dare? But sometimes when I see one flying so high up there, they're but a solitary dot, I can but gape and wonder and say, oh my gosh, look at that. But as I've implied, whether in the trees or in the skies, eagles, falcons, and hawks are almost always alone, perhaps in twos. And that's what separates those great birds from this here goose. But I suppose those in Iowa and Nebraska know it best, because they say the sky is bigger if you live in the West. But even as a lad nestled in the Alleghenies, I can remember looking forward each autumn to seeing as many as 1,000 geese arrowing into view over autumn elm, white birch, and maple too. Well, one day, lying alone on my back, listening to the moan and the groan of the train on some distant track, I saw above me 1,000 feet or more, something to which this day, I must say, I've never seen before. See, the leader of the V suddenly swerved out, leaving a vacancy, which was promptly filled by the bird behind, and the former leader, flying alongside, the formation growing wide, and took its place at the end of the line, and they never missed a beat. Well, I was on my feet, gaping mouth, gazing south, wondering, what have I seen? I ran and told my friends, and they said, so? I said, what do you mean, so? Have you ever seen anything like that, Mark, Judy, Paul? They said, nah. Don't be a bore. Let's go to the park and play ball. Well, I used to play a ball a lot as a kid, and that was that. Well, I'm an adult now, and I'm very busy. I suppose that's part of being an adult. But the point is, I hardly have time alone, and not the least lying on my back looking for geese. Oh, I might see some. That's more or less luck. Or I might see a goose, but it's really a duck. Or perhaps I catch a glimpse when I'm caught in traffic. And that's why I'm thankful for the National Geographic. See, they told me what I tell you. And if you don't believe what I say is true, you can go look it up. You see, what I witnessed that day as a child has been going on in the wild since the very first autumn, the very first spring. You see, their bodies are streamlined, necks like a spear, slicing the wind, cutting the air. And although from the ground it's impossible to see, those wings aren't just flapping randomly. You see, the head goose grabs the wind, air is displaced, which promptly rushes up again to reclaim its space, only to see the smiling face of the bird who's right behind, whose wings just happen to be in a downward position. It's a very precarious position, but it doesn't stay there long, because that upward rush gives it a push, and it's right back up there where it belongs. And that bird grabs the air again and causes another upward rush and helps the bird behind, and so on it goes on down the line. So the head bird shields the wind, and the rest are all carried by that bird, on varying degrees, of course, from the back, which is best, to the front, which is worst, with very little effort, I'm told, on the part of any one bird. Because when the head bird has had enough, that bird falls back and relies on another bird for strength, when strength is what it lacks. So that's how I found out how this goose can fly from way up north to way down south again and back. But it's something that can't be done alone, you see. It's something that must be done in community. Oh, I know it's a popular notion, and people swell with pride and emotion when they think of themselves on the eagle side, strong, self-confident, alone. Not bad traits. But we are what we are, and that's something we can't choose. And although many of us would like to be seen as the eagle, I think we were made more like the goose. So that's the goose. I hope you liked it. And maybe in this time especially, maybe we can work a lot more together. And when you're tired, ask for some help. And when you see someone who is tired, see what you can do to help them. So I hope you're doing well. Hope to see you around a campfire someday. Take care. Thanks.